Hello, I'm Dave.
Hello, I'm Đường.
And together we are D&D. Oh, are you on? Hello and welcome back to my video ambulance to camper. This is part 2. So I told you at the end of the first one I was going to show you around the inside, and you can see I've made the effort, put a better shirt on, and I've combed my hair, what's left of it. So we'll start with the door, I think. Okay, door, I've left it all as is, bog standard, and when you open it the step goes down, and dead easy. It's just on a cam lever, so that's quite handy. And then now I'm going to show you the ceiling. There's a lot of holes in the ceiling and a lot of items on it. So the first thing is the roof light, which is in the exact same position as it always was, so I've not touched that. Then there was 4 of these fluorescent strip lights, and I removed 3 of them because I needed to put cupboards and the bathroom cut over them. So I've only got 1 left, but that's not a bad thing because they use up quite a bit of battery power anyway. And the others are little LEDs like that. So I've got 3 smaller LED lights and the original fluorescent light. And also what I can do, because they used to have the blue trauma lights in as well, I put the smaller LEDs in blue as well, so I can keep that theme going. Alright, so that's the lights. There's still loads more lights, little spotlights, there's 2 there. And what's that one do? Oh, that's the trauma. Okay, I'm operating them from this Carnation Phoenix panel at the moment. I've changed a couple of things over. That does the water pump now, and that's the fan in the roof, but that only works when the engine's running. Heater, yep, that's alright. Front radio, so that allows the speakers that are in the back to connect up with the radio that's in the front, and that's the communications to the front as well. Been over that I think before. These switches up here, night heater and the aircon, and then just a little temperature gauge. The tilt bins are the originals and they're in the original place. I left it all there because there's such a lot of wiring behind here and here that I didn't want to get involved in it. And then down the bottom where that cupboard is now used to be the Carnation fuse panel facing this way, and it was going to be in the way, so I decided to spin it round, cut a hole in the cab side and mount it in the cab, so you can get to it quite easily just by sliding the driver's seat forward. So that gave me some extra space to put my cupboards in here. Right, cupboard wise, the first one is the cupboard above the cab. Originally that was full up with ambulance electrics and electronic cabling and stuff and all sorts of things in there, and it had a slide out tray which I've kept, and we just mount our bits and pieces in there now. So oh yeah, I found that in here. Obviously that was some accident that the ambulance couldn't find his hand and they left it stuck right down in the corner there, so what I'll have to do is take it to a second-hand shop. Oh, well, I did tell you I was going to make a couple of jokes, so there's number one. Right, that's that. The aircon unit still works. Well, it works now. I had to fix it by fitting a new condenser and compressor, and then I got it regassed and it all works. So below that we've got the microwave, got some switches up there. That's the remote readout for the 2 solar panels that are charging the saloon batteries. I call this a saloon, it's the living area, but my word is saloon because that's the word they gave it in the ambulance brigade. So then I've kept a fire extinguisher, and I put a little cupboard in there for all the crockery, and underneath here is your hob. It's a 4-burner hob, and then below it is the oven and grill and a little storage tray below that. That's a little corner cupboard full of food. Then I've got a drawer and a cupboard there. So that unit I modified. It used to only come out to here, so I've actually extended it out to there, which is in line with the doorway through to the cab. And then on this side I've fitted the sink and fridge and a under sink cupboard. That's a little hinged flap table which goes up to here, useful when you need it. So water wise, hot and cold from there, and that's the drinking water. It's come loose, so I need to tighten that up, but that comes through a filter, so that's pure water when it comes through. Pump's not turned on at the moment, so I won't demonstrate it. And then what I've got here is a large wardrobe. Well, I say large. It's large for a camper van, I suppose, but it's full up with my stuff, so there's no room left in it. But at the back, right up high, if I can get in there, is the amplifier for the TV aerial that's on the roof. And then through the back, somewhere through the back, if I can move the clothes. Yeah, hello, this is the continuity police here. I've had to cut this in because I couldn't seamlessly join the bit about inside the wardrobe, so I've had to reshoot it. So here we go, I've taken the clothes out. Now in the back is this unit here, and that does the telephone aerial signal booster. At the moment it's just tuning in because I just turned it on. So what we've got is 3G, it goes up 3G. Then just above it is where the satellite dish controller would have been. I had to send it back to Italy because the key switch, which automatically closes the dish when you switch the ignition on, actually stopped working. I was worried about driving away with it up and it getting ripped off its mounting, so that's missing at the moment. Right, while we're on the subject of electrics, what I've got, I don't know if you've all got this or not, but it's a useful little extra gadget. With the Carnation Phoenix unit connected up, even when you're parked up not using the vehicle for however long, the Carnation Phoenix system is still live, and I've got a switch underneath the passenger seat which disconnects it all, and I don't know if anyone else has got that or knows about it. And also I've wired an extension one switch up for it as well, so when I press that little button there, if you look at that, that will all go out. So I'm going to press it now. Right, so it's all gone out. I'll press it again and it livens it up again, so I'm really pleased with that. That's dead handy when I park it up and not using it for a while. Okay, right, back to the original video now. And that's the beep box that goes with the satellite controller, so you control it from here, and all the workings are inside the wardrobe in the other box. Right, I've got another little pull out shelf here, so it just fits on like that and goes back in. It's a bit Heath Robinson, but it seems to work. And that's a heater, gas heater, out of the caravan. And I think I point out now that I bought an old caravan. Wow, doing that caravan, only 250 quid. Right, I bought a caravan and took all the appliances out of it, and that gave me everything I needed to put in the back here, appliance wise, so I made use of all of that. And also the bathroom, which I'll come to that in a little while. Yeah, I do wear glasses. Okay, so next we've got just a little cupboard there, but at the bottom that's for the Spasher night heater, or whatever they call it. And I put the two vents together because there was nowhere else to put them, so all the heat comes out those two vents, and that can heat this place up in maybe 10 minutes. You don't need it on for longer than that. And then once it's hot, or t-shirt climate, I then switch on the little gas heater here and turn the Spasher off. Okay, and then that's just a cupboard, and above it is a TV on a movable bracket. This window, I fitted that was the one that came out of the Land Rover Defender 110, and you can open it, so we have got one method of getting ventilation into the back. And again, that blind that I put on there, that's actually out of a car, estate car. It's the load space carrier, so it used to be mounted horizontally, and to pull out the cover horizontally across the boot, but I found it's quite a strong black canvas and made use of it there, whereas on the other side the original window still had the original blind with it, so I haven't touched that. And also the door still got the original blind, so I haven't touched that one either. There's another shelf here which folds down. It's a little bit awkward doing this one-handed, and that just becomes extra workspace or worktop space for when we're in here preparing food and that sort of thing. You can still get out through the door if that's got stuff on it, just by crawling underneath. So that goes back up there. That's a little pull-out laundry hanging rails. I think you pull it all out like that. That actually only cost me £2 in Homebase. I saw them there going cheap, so I thought that might work in here. And that's the smoke alarm, carbon monoxide. That one there is the weather station, so at a glance I can see what the weather's doing, humidity and everything else, temperature and stuff. Obviously keys and all that. Still got the original light switches for the ceiling lights, so they're still working. That's a Carawan, quite a useful little bit of kit for security. Look it up on the internet if you want to know more about that. I've fitted a USB socket there for charging phones, and also it keeps the weather station connected, so it's always lit, so I can see it at a glance. anyone that knows their ambulances will identify with these. They're for the rubbish bins. They used to be mounted up that side over there where the window is now. So I've rebuilt this cupboard and mounted it there. The reason I put this cupboard here and that little one there was because my bed area, or the seating area as it is now, came to that size, so I wanted to sort of enclose it in a little bit. So I built that, and it actually works out alright. Now, moving along, there's all the bed storage is underneath the seats, both sides, so all the bedding's in both seats. We've got a lot of bedding in there, including sleeping bags as well, for when we're camping out. I'll just keep it in there. Alright, so over here I've kept the original Hella DIN sockets, which works off that sort of a plug, but as you know, most gadgets and appliances, 12 volt things, come with a sort of cigarette lighter. So what I've done, I've just bought 2 adapters, and we can plug it in to those, or if it's a DIN plug, it'll plug it straight in there. The TV, incidentally, is just connected on these 2, and that all goes off when I turn off the carnation system. That's the mains there. The caravan heater that I fitted has got warm blown air system as well, so I can operate warm blown air out of comes out of 4 vents. There's one at the front, one there, and one in the bathroom. That's probably the most useful one when the weather's cold. So we have the warm air coming into the bathroom, and I call it a bathroom. It's not quite bathroom size, but it's getting there. I'll show you that in a minute. Just keep going through the cupboards. This cupboard is basically clothing. It's quite deep, quite big. This is the only access I could design for it to be accessible, going in this way right through to the back. So there's like double layer of boxes and clothing and stuff in there. Alright, and that's got a light on it which comes on and off. I've still got some holes to fill in the ceiling, but that'll get done one day, because underneath this cupboard is the outside cupboard, which is my plant room, as I showed you in the first video, where I've got all the water system and the water heater, and then in front of that panel I've got the gas bottles and the gas kit for barbecues and stuff like that. Okay, so then these 2 cupboards up here, these are the original position that they always were, so I've left them where they were. And the same this side. These 2 little cupboards, I kept those exactly where they were, haven't really done anything to those. So then once you come to the end of these cupboards, right across the back, I've put a wall, and I got this bathroom section, the whole thing, out of that caravan I mentioned earlier. And what I've done is I've just measured the size of the room that was in the caravan and built an identical size in here, so that the whole of the bathroom kit will just slot in exactly the same. It just drops in, and all I did was refit it in here, seal it around the edges, and that's it really. So the cassette toilet's down there, and the water that fills the sink, also the head becomes a shower unit, and that goes up to the top there, so that's very useful. I've got a small cupboard there with a light switch, and also I've got the fan switch. Right, that fan is the original position, it always was, and it was just by fluke really that where I built the wall just came on the edge of the fan housing. So there might have been a bit of another problem there moving that. Anyway, that works well, and you can operate that from in here if you're having a shower and creating a lot of condensation, or if you're having a dump and creating a lot of smell. So it's quite good to be able to get rid of it before you exit. Now the door, that's a tambour door from a filing cabinet, and it used to be two doors, but these just slide in and out, so I dismantled it and made one door that was wide enough. Only had to add a few strips to make it the correct width for this opening here, but the only thing is it didn't come with the spirals. You see the spiral at the bottom? I had to make those by hand, and the top one, because there aren't not any on the market. You can't get them for this sort of thickness of door, because they are designed really to run in a track, and it just literally goes like that. And originally they're designed to go to run in a track which curves back on itself, and of course with the toilet there I didn't have any space at all to do that, so I eventually came up with making my own spirals, which wasn't actually very easy, but they just about pass. I've got one little window in the back which came out of the caravan, so that doesn't open either, so having the fan in the roof is quite handy. Just a couple of built-in cupboards in that whole unit here, so it's just about the right size really for two people. Let's just turn that light off there. Right, let's see, what else haven't I described? Just a few things really. This is the sort of the water controls really. That's the level of the tank. It's obviously empty at the moment, and then that turns the pump on and off. That only comes on when the Carnation Phoenix one is switched on, that I showed you earlier. And then that's the gas water heater, and if we're on EHU then I can use that switch for the mains instead. As you notice, the sockets I've got round, they've all got USB outlets in them as well, so if we are plugged in to the mains, instead of just plugging into the 12 volt socket, we can use those. Alright, and then more little storage stuff there. Right, so what I haven't shown you yet is the table, so if you bear with me a sec, I'll just get the table out and put that up. And then the legs are on clips down in the corner there, so I put two legs in, and as you can see, the underneath this carrier is offset, so it actually slides across, which makes it easier to walk through to the bathroom when it's set up. Right, so that's in, and that's sort of the gap we've got to walk down the edge to get into the bathroom when it's set up, and it's offset to the side at the moment, and then you just put it across and that's now level, and then you can tighten it up with those little levers there. So I'll push that back there. Just one thing I'll mention, all this panelling, all the white panelling that I made is made out of a thin PVC sheet. Actually it's that thick, and I bought plywood and glued it all onto the ply. Anyway, when we had the bed set up and the weather was really cold, I set up the heater going on full blast, and the hot air ended up going underneath the bed, underneath here, and it was so intense it's actually expanded the plastic, so it's buckled all the way along, and that was purely that heater that's on. It also buckled it that side as well. It's not a lot I can do about it now, so I'm just going to leave it. Part of one of those things, tells a story. That's probably as much as I can show you really. There's a couple of things I could add. The things I probably would have liked to have redesigned or done again is the bed setup. It's basically easy enough to set up as a bed, but when you're living in it from day to day and travelling, in the mornings you've got to dismantle the bed, put the table up. It's not a great problem, but then you've got to do it in the evening to make the bed up. That actually takes longer making it up than it does dismantling it. Things that really took the time were the tracks in the floor, getting those out, because every single bolt was rusted in, corroded in. Angle grind, had to angle grind every single one to get those out. Removing the back door and the ramp, that's not really a one-man job, but I did manage it. Building the new back on, that was a piece of cake, fabrication work, no problem. Building the slide out tow bar for the motorbike, I enjoyed doing that. Things that took the time again was remaking these little cupboards there and there, and the other ones, because the way the cabinets are put together takes a little bit of working out, but once you got the system going, I've managed to reuse all the available cupboards that I had, and I've got a few bits left over spare. What I would done again would be the making the white panels up. Now I tried to do it on a budget, shoestring budget, so I bought the plastic UPVC sheeting and glued that onto the 12mm ply. Now in hindsight, I used a contact spray adhesive, and what I didn't do, I didn't prime the plywood first, so the glue hasn't actually worked very well. It is holding together, but literally if you did get to a corner, not that you can because they're all covered up, but you could peel it off quite easily, so really you need a PVA primer on the plywood first before you apply the glue. So I learnt that one. Things left still to do, I'll take a few photos and put those on at the end. Okay, here we are again, different day, same face. Just like to say thank you very much for watching. I've kind of enjoyed making the videos. I've definitely enjoyed making the camper, and got two people to thank, my mum and Duan. My mum especially for letting me use her driveway and garage for the whole project. I mean, I couldn't have done it without her and all the endless cups of tea and the help she gave me, so thank you so much, Mum. And Duan as well for all her input, helping with everything, the painting, the construction, always a smile on her face, and I couldn't have done it without you either, so thank you very much. And I'm going to make a third video, a bit more technical I think really, because I'm going to cover the electrics, which are quite involved, and we'll see how I get on in that one. Oh, there's a spider Go away. Right, okay then. Thank you. Bye-bye.